This is your moment. This is the generational turning point America has waited for since 1979, and since the rudderless wars of hubris, my generation, our generation, endured. Don't listen to the noise. Just stay focused. Our commander-in-chief is steady at the wheel. We face a determined enemy, but you are better. But we must prove it every single day. History doesn't care if we're tired, if we're scared, or if the fight feels big. It demands warriors who rise anyway.
For years, the Iranian regime proudly displayed its fleet of upgraded F-14 Tomcat fighter jets as symbols of its military power. They repeatedly threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz and boasted that no American force could operate freely in their airspace or waters. On one decisive day in 2026, that confidence was completely shattered. In a dramatic and one-sided confrontation, U.S. F-22 Raptors dominated the skies by downing multiple Iranian F-14 Tomcats in intense dogfights, while the U.S. Navy simultaneously launched precision strikes against IRGC-operated oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. This coordinated air and sea operation delivered a devastating blow to Iran's military prestige and its economic lifeline. American intelligence agencies had been meticulously tracking IRGC activities. They identified specific oil tankers controlled by the Revolutionary Guard that were being used to smuggle millions of barrels of sanctioned crude oil, with the revenue directly funding Hezbollah, the Houthis, and other proxy militias. F-22 pilots spent hundreds of hours in simulators practicing against the flight characteristics of the F-14 Tomcat, studying its powerful radar, long-range Phoenix missiles, and maneuverability limitations. Navy strike planners rehearsed coordinated attacks using Harpoon missiles and carrier-based aircraft. Electronic warfare units prepared to jam Iranian communications and radar systems. Every aspect of the mission was synchronized to achieve maximum impact with minimal risk to American forces. On the morning the operation began, tension filled the air bases and the carrier deck. At forward air bases, F-22 Raptors taxied out in tight formations. Their sleek, angular designs and radar-absorbent coatings made them nearly invisible. On the carrier, flight deck crews worked furiously as FA-18 Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers, and support aircraft launched in waves. Destroyers and cruisers positioned themselves for surface strikes while maintaining a protective screen around the carrier. The entire force operated under strict emissions control, hoping to catch Iranian forces off guard. The confrontation ignited when Iranian radar detected what they believed was a routine American patrol. Several F-14 Tomcats scrambled from their bases to intercept. As the Iranian fighters climbed and accelerated toward the contact, they flew directly into a carefully prepared trap. A flight of F-22 Raptors operating at superior altitude and using their super cruise capability had already positioned themselves perfectly. What followed was a masterclass in fifth-generation air combat. The F-22s remained virtually invisible on Iranian radars until the last possible moment. American pilots fired AIM-120D AMRAAM missiles from beyond visual range, achieving multiple kills before the Iranian pilots could react. Those Tomcats that survived the initial barrage found themselves in a nightmare close-range dogfight. The F-22's thrust vectoring, extreme agility, and unmatched situational awareness allowed U.S. pilots to outmaneuver the older Tomcats with ease. American pilots locked onto targets with a simple turn of the head and unleashed AIM-9X Sidewinder missiles and precise 20mm cannon fire. One by one, Iranian F-14s were torn apart in the sky. In less than 10 minutes of intense combat, at least 6 Iranian Tomcats were confirmed destroyed, with several more heavily damaged. Not a single U.S. aircraft was lost or even seriously threatened. While the dogfights raged high above the waters, the naval phase of the operation unfolded with equal precision and brutality. U.S. Navy ships and aircraft locked onto the IRGC oil tankers, attempting to transit the narrow Strait of Hormuz. From standoff distances, destroyers fired salvos of Harpoon and Tomahawk missiles. Several tankers were struck directly, erupting into massive fireballs as their crude oil cargo ignited. Thick columns of black smoke rose hundreds of meters into the sky, visible for miles. Navy SEAL teams in fast RHIB boats conducted rapid visit, board, search, and seizure operations on 2 tankers that were only lightly damaged, securing valuable intelligence documents and preventing major environmental disasters by stabilizing the vessels. Iranian fast attack boats that attempted to intervene were quickly destroyed by helicopter gunships and ship gunfire. The entire operation, from the first F-22 missile launch to the neutralization of the last tanker, lasted less than 5 hours. When it ended, American forces had achieved complete dominance over both the air and sea domains in one of the most strategically vital areas in the world. This operation sent an unmistakable message to Tehran and every other potential adversary. The United States maintains overwhelming military superiority in the air and on the sea, and it will not hesitate to use that power when its interests or international navigation rights are threatened. The F-22 Raptor once again proved why it remains the undisputed king of the skies, while the U.S. Navy demonstrated its ability to control critical choke points with speed and precision. For the Iranian regime, this was more than a tactical defeat. It was a strategic humiliation that exposed the vulnerability of its aging military hardware and the fragility of its economic warfare strategy. This joint operation will be remembered and studied as a textbook example of modern multi-domain warfare, seamlessly combining stealth air superiority, electronic warfare dominance, and naval strike power to achieve decisive results in a very short time. What do you think about this intense confrontation between U.S. and Iranian forces? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss future exclusive military analyses.